What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Invest Daily. So I had somebody request to me that we talk about singles pricing for Metazoo First Edition, Cryptid Nation, as well as Nightfall First Edition. So I took out some of the big hitters, Sinclair, Mothman, Wendigo, Grim Reaper, and we're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about what the singles pricing is at. Is it worth picking up? Is it worth picking up the slab? Or is it worth picking up the single and sending it in to PSA for the $100 tier? Okay, so first thing I want to talk about is Sinclair. This is a really nice card. This is one of the big hitters for Cryptid Nation First Edition, full holographic, non-Kickstarter. And recently this card is hovering between $57 to $72. Now, if you want to get a good deal on these cards, eBay is not your only place. You have Mercari, you have Whatnot, you have Facebook Marketplace, Metazoo pages, Reddit, and you have eBay and a bunch of other places. So shop around, take your time. One thing I want to preface it with is ensure you're getting close-up shots. You're getting, really good, clean, clear, out of the sleeve close-up shots. Because a lot of people are going to throw things in there and say, yeah, it's packed fresh, it's near mint, it's going to grade a 10. Don't fall for that. Look at it yourself. Understand what PSA 10s command. What do they want to get a PSA 10? Okay, so when you send cards in, you want to try to shoot for 10s. That way, hopefully, the worst you get is a 9. Sometimes we get 8, 7, 6s. It's okay. But if you're shooting for 10s and you get really good at it, you might come back with a couple of 9s and a couple of 10s and you're good to go. So looking at the PSA 10 Sinclair pricing, the recent one sold for $350. These are Kickstarters. Scrolling on down, we see some full hollows around December, November timeframe between $750 to $945. So it seems like this card has dipped quite a bit, quite a lot from its high. So right now, I think the profit margin to send this card in a PSA raw is too low, right? Your profit margin is too small, especially if you get a PSA 9, you're probably in the negative. So I think that the PSA 10 is cheap enough right now, if you can get a deal on it, to just go ahead and pick up the PSA 10 slab. Call it a day. Moving into the Mothman. The Mothman is right now hovering between high 290s to low 300s. So you can probably get this card in the $200 range. This is known to be like the biggest hitter in the Cryptid Nation First Edition set. So if you can pick up some singles raw for Mothman, I would definitely do that. All right, so looking at the PSA 10. The PSA 10, wow, is going for a lot more than a PSA 10 Sinclair. $1,350, $1,380. So it seems to be hovering right around $1,300 range. I do think that this card is worth sending into PSA. The reason why I say that, because a PSA 9 just sold for $399.95. So that means if you buy one at $290, send it in for $100, that's $390. If you get a PSA 9, then you break even. If you send cards in for, say, $390 and you can sell it for $1,380, then you made a lot of money, right? You made $1,000 profit. And that's really, really good in comparison to the Sinclair. So if anything, you get a PSA 9, you break even, you put it on your shelf and you stare at it, right? And hopefully the prices go up in the future. So I would highly suggest you buying raw Mothman, send them into PSA. Sinclair, just pick up the PSA 10 slab or the single card. And I remember when this Mothman PSA 10 recently was around $1,800. So this is dipped down as well as the singles pricing was around $650, and now it's down to about $290. Looking at Wendigo. Wendigo just sold for $44. We have some reverses. Let's see if we can find some more full hollows. We had one that sold at $79. Yeah, so we don't have a lot of pricing to go off of, but it seems that it's hovering right around $44 right here for January 9th. So I think about the $40 region would be a safe bet for this Wendigo. You have one right here, best offer from $60, probably also sold right around in the $40, $50 range. So I think that's a really good price to pick up this card raw, because I remember recently when this card was about $80, $60 to $80. So that's a pretty good price. And when you look at it, for a PSA 10, it's $330, about $305. So same as Sinclair. If you get a PSA 9, it's just not worth it to me. That $100 tier is just too expensive. Just like Sam, I would pick up a PSA 10, try to haggle, negotiate, and call it a day. So stack the singles or go for a PSA 10, but don't send it in. The last card, Grim Reaper. Another cool, really cool card. Now this card is weird because the pricing is volatile and really all over the place. Right here, January 10th, you have one sold at 36. This was a full holo and signed by Mike Waddell. You have one here, sold for $59. Actually more, not signed. Maybe some people don't like signatures. Then you have one that sold for $15. This was a holo. And maybe they thought it was a reverse holographic and no one bid on it. And you have one for 20 bucks. You have one for 31. So see, they're basically between 20 and like $60. So you can snag these Grims right now for like 20 bucks if you look around. And right now it seems that a Grim PSA 10 is selling at $450 and right around in that was December, $340. December. Do we have one for January? I do not see a recent Grim for January. So we don't have a lot of January sales. Right here we have a 9 at 86. So if you were to buy one at 20, send it in for 120 bucks, you would be taking a loss at a PSA 9. But looking at the last PSA 10 we had that I have seen, I'm still looking. I don't really see any right now. But the last PSA 10s, which is probably about right because the rest of the cards, Sam Sinclair as well as Wendigo, was selling right around 350, 400 bucks. I would say this is probably still accurate. So if you can snag up some Grims at 20, I would definitely buy some singles around $20 to $25 if you can get them. They're out there. And if you can get a PSA return of a 10 and it goes for $350 to $400, I think that is a good return on your investment because the card is so incredibly cheap that if you send quite a few in, I'm sure you can get some 10s. You can get some 10s. So I think the Moth and I think the Grim is worth sending in, right? I think they are worth sending in because the singles are good, they're cheap, and the return is really good. But for the Wendigos and the Sams, I would not send those in. But I would buy singles for all of these cards. I think all of these cards have dipped in price. They are fairly low. I think they're really low right now. I think Nightfall is especially undervalued, right? Underappreciated right now. And those Grims are a really good deal for singles. So I hope that this helped y'all out. If you got questions, if you're curious about something, if you want some more cards, talked about in the future, drop a comment. Thank all of you for tuning in, and I'll see y'all later.